泰伯篇一。子曰：泰伯，其可谓至德也已矣。三以天下让，民无德而称焉。The master said,泰伯 can certainly be called a man of virtue. No less than 3 times he renounced the throne in favor of his younger brother. The common people couldn't find proper words to praise him for it. 泰伯篇二。子曰：恭而无礼则劳，慎而无礼则喜，勇而无礼则乱，直而无礼则绞。君子笃于亲，则民兴于仁，故旧不移，则民不偷。The master said, Courtesy without following the rites becomes tiresome. Caution without following the rites becomes cowardice. Bravery without following the rites becomes turbulence. Uprightness without following the rites becomes harshness. When gentlemen deal generously with their own kinsmen, the common people are incited to benevolence. When gentlemen do not discard their old friends, the common people will not be indifferent. 泰伯篇三。曾子有疾，昭门弟子曰：起于足，起于手。诗云：战战兢兢，如临深渊，如履薄冰。而今而后，吾之免夫。小子。When Zengzi was ill, he summoned his disciples and said, Look at my feet, look at my hands. The book of poetry says, Be cautious and fearful, as though on the brink of a chasm or treading on thin ice. From now I have come to know that, whatever may betide, I shall come through safely, my disciples. 泰伯篇四。曾子有疾，孟敬子问之。曾子言曰：鸟之将死，其鸣也哀；人之将死，其言也善。君子所贵乎道者三：动容貌，思远暴慢矣；正颜色，思近信矣；出辞气，思远彼备矣。边斗之事，则有思存。When Zengzi was ill, Meng Jingzi came to see him. Zengzi said, When a bird is about to die, his cry is mournful. When a man is about to die, his words are kind. There are 3 things that a gentleman should place above all the rest. He should adopt a solemn attitude so as to avoid violence or arrogance. He should look sincere so as to make others believe in him. And he should utter proper words in the proper intonation so as to avoid coarseness or impropriety. As to the utensils used in sacrifices, he should leave them to the care of those in charge. 泰伯篇五。曾子曰：以能问于不能，以多问于寡。有若无，实若虚，犯而不教，昔者无有常从事于斯矣。曾子 said, I once had a friend who was like this. Though capable and gifted, he would inquire of the less capable and less gifted. Though he knew much, he would inquire of those who knew less. Though he was a man of great learning, he looked as if he were ignorant. Though he had a rich depth of knowledge, he looked as if he were empty, and he never returned others' mistreatment. 泰伯篇六。曾子曰：可以托6尺之孤，可以寄百里之命。临大节而不可夺也，君子人于，君子人也。曾子 said, He can be trusted with the care and education of an orphan not yet fully grown. He can be trusted with the sovereignty of a whole state. In a moment of crisis, he remains unshaken. Is such a man a gentleman? Surely he is. 泰伯篇七。曾子曰：士不可以弘毅，任重而道远。人以为己任，不亦重乎？死而后已，不亦远乎？曾子 said, A gentleman must be broad-minded and resolute, for his burden is heavy, and his road is long. To practice virtue is the burden he has taken upon himself. Isn't that heavy? His journey does not end until his death. Isn't it far away? 泰伯篇八。子曰：兴于诗，立于礼，成于乐。The master said, I am inspired by learning the book of poetry. given a firm footing by the study of rites, and perfected by music. 泰伯篇9。子曰：民可使由之，不可使知之。The master said, The common people can be made to act in accordance with our intention, but they cannot be easily made to understand it. 泰伯篇10。子曰：好勇极贫，乱也；仁而不仁，极之以慎，乱也。The master said, One who is by nature daring and is tired of suffering from poverty is likely to make trouble. One who lacks benevolence and has too much hatred is also likely to make trouble. 泰伯篇11。子曰：如有周公之才之美，使骄且吝，其余不足观也已。The master said, Though a man has gifts as wonderful as those of Duke Zhou, but if he is arrogant and mean, the rest of him is of no account. 泰伯篇12。子曰：3年学，不至于古，不亦得也。The master said, It is hard indeed to find a man who has studied for 3 years without thinking of a post in the government. 泰伯篇13。子曰：笃信好学，守死善道，威邦不入，乱邦不居。天下有道则现，无道则隐。邦有道，贫且贱焉，耻也；邦无道，富且贵焉，耻也。The master said, A man should be faithful in our doctrine, love learning, and be ready to die for it. He should not enter a state that pursues dangerous courses, nor stay in one where the people have rebelled. When the right way prevails under heaven, then he comes out and takes office. When it does not prevail, then he retires. When the right way prevails in your own land, count it a disgrace to be needy and obscure. When it does not prevail in your land, then count it a disgrace to be rich and honored. 泰伯篇14。子曰：不在其位，不谋其政。The master said, He who is not in charge of some affair should not interfere in it. 泰伯篇15。子曰：失志之始，官居之乱，洋洋乎！盈耳哉！ The master said, From the time when the chief musician Zhi began to play to the final strings of Guanju, what a grand floor of sound filled my ears. 泰伯篇16。子曰：狂而不直，同而不怨，空空而不信，无不知之矣。The master said, Impetuous and tricky, immature and dishonest, simple-minded and capable of breaking promises, such people I really don't understand. 泰伯篇17。子曰：学如不及，犹恐失之。The master said, Study as if you were never to master it, and as if you were in fear of losing what you have learned. 泰伯篇18。子曰：巍巍乎！舜禹之有天下也，而不欲焉。The master said, Noble were Shun and Yu. They held possession of the whole world, but did nothing for themselves. 泰伯篇19。子曰：大哉尧之为君也！巍巍乎！为天未大，为尧则之。荡荡乎！民无能名焉。巍巍乎！其有成功也！焕乎！其有文章。The master said, Great was Yao as a prince. How exalted! There's no greatness like that of heaven, yet only Yao could take it as a model. How vast was his kindness! People lacked terms to praise him. How great were his achievement! How fine was his system of rights! 泰伯篇20。舜有臣5人而天下治。武王曰：余有乱，臣使人。孔子曰：才难，不其然乎！唐虞之际，于斯为盛，有妇人焉，9人而已。3分天下有其2，以服事因。周之德，其可谓至德也已矣。舜 had 5 ministers, and everything under heaven was ruled well. King Wu said, I have 10 ministers. The master said, How true it is that the talented are hard to find. It was most abundant in the times of Yao, Shun, and King Wu. As for King Wu, there was a woman among his 10, so there were only 9 men. While in possession of 2/3 of the state, King Wen continued in submission to the Yin dynasty. His virtue may indeed be called an absolutely perfect one. 泰伯篇21，子曰：与吾坚然矣。肥饮食而致孝乎鬼神，恶衣服而致美乎服冕，卑宫室而尽力乎沟绪，与吾坚然矣。The master said, I can find no fault in Yu. Abstemious in his own food and drink, he displayed the utmost devotion in his offerings to spirits and divinities. Content with the plainest clothes for common wear, he saw to it that the vestment for the services were beautiful. While living in the humble house, he devoted all his energy to the irrigation projects. I can find no fault in Yu.